everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, then welcome. My name is Auntie Q on YouTube, and this is Auntieqasmr. If you've been here before, then you know the deal. We're in a different hotel room in a different city tonight, because in real life I'm a flight attendant, and tonight we are in Boseman, Montana. And I love Montana, and this is a different hotel than we stayed at the last time that I was here, and I'm loving this hotel. The location is better, mostly because I am able to walk, not Uber, walk to some cute little trails. And there's plenty of hikes that are within Uber and Lyft distance. But I completely didn't even think that that was a possibility, because I'm on a 13-hour and change layover. I'll be departing from this hotel at 12:20 p.m. tomorrow. And I just figured, leaving in the afternoon, how early am I really gonna get up? There's not gonna be any time to hike. But it turns out that there is, and I wish that I had kind of looked that up beforehand, because I did not wear hiking clothes, but I love Montana and I love hiking, so that's not going to stop me. It's also going to be below 50 degrees in the morning, and that's not going to stop me, because I have this big giant hoodie that I bought at the Deftones concert that I was at in California last Saturday. And it's like a men's triple XL, so it's nice and big and cozy. And I've got Levi's jeans on, so that's warm enough. And I have not Converse, but the Walmart version of Converse. So not really hiking shoes, but good enough for trails. And of course, I have a beanie, because if you saw my last video, I did finish the beanie that I was knitting in my last video. So, and the sleeves on this are nice and long, so I can pull my hands in, and if it's really that cold in the morning, I also have gloves. So I'm gonna go hiking in the morning, which is extremely exciting for me, because I love hiking, and I love hiking in Montana. I tried to get the Billings. I believe that Billings is the closest layover that my airline does to Yellowstone. And when I get that layover, I rent a car and I go hiking in Yellowstone. And I believe that the closest layover destination that we have to Glacier is Kalispell. I'm pretty sure. But I have neither had that layover yet, nor have I been to Glacier National Park. But Montana is incredibly beautiful, and I would like to live here at some point. So any time that I have a layover that I can squeeze a hike into, I want to do that. And I was really pleasantly surprised to find out that there's a bunch of cute little trails here, and also hikes close by. And I don't really have the shoes for a hike, but I'm still going to look, because I saved 16 trails on All Trails earlier this evening. So I don't know, I would really like to do with the time and the shoes that I have. I haven't hiked in a while. When is the last time that I got to go on a hike? It's a shame that I can't remember, because when I lived in California, I loved to hike. I hiked all the time. It was my favorite thing to do. It still is my favorite thing to do, but in Minneapolis, there just really isn't a lot of hiking opportunity. Unfortunately, Minneapolis is like a majority flat state. Like, you can be driving around Minneapolis, where I currently live and am based out of for work, and you can look out towards the horizon, and you can just keep looking out, because there's not a mountain in sight to obstruct your view in that direction at that level. And it's honestly, it kind of freaks me out, because I grew up my whole life until I was 26 when I moved to Minneapolis. I'm 28 now. And in California, like, when I'm driving on the highways in California, you look out and you're gonna see a mountain. It's not just gonna be sky. If you want to see the sky, you're gonna need to raise your line of sight a little bit, because if you're just looking out, that's mountains. And it's freaky. It's freaky to me to not see that when I don't like it. I don't like it. And, you know, I lived in downtown San Diego right before I moved to Minneapolis. And even then, like, that's the city. I would only have to drive like 40 minutes to be in like the Descanso, entering Julian, towards Julian, like Hapatul Valley, Sunrise Highway. Those are like the freeway exits that I would take, if you're familiar with Southern California, to get into like the Descanso area. I don't really know if it's Descanso, but if you're familiar at all with Southern California and you're driving out from East County toward Campo and you stop at the Sunrise Highway exit or the exit for Hapatul Valley, you will be able to go to some of my favorite hikes from back in the day. Oxenita Peak is my favorite, and you've got just so many great ones over there. Or you could go 40 minutes in the Escondido Poway direction, and you could be at Blue Sky Lake. You could be at the nature preserve that I can't remember the name of right now. But it was all just so readily available. And if I want to hike now that I live in Minnesota, I have to leave Minnesota. To clarify, to me, a hike means at least some bit of elevation gain. There has to be. You have to go up for it to be a hike. if it's flat and it's a nature-y walk and it's beautiful and it's outside but it's flat, that's a trail. You walked on a trail. Like, I was in Alaska a month or two ago with my dad on a layover, and we were in Anchorage, and there's the coastal trail, and we were walking like basically the length almost of the coastal trail. And then my dad at the end of it was like, that was a really good hike that we did, right? And I was like, sure, for you, Dad, I will call that a hike. But it wasn't, it was just a walk. We were walking outside on a pretty little trail, and there's plenty of opportunity to do that in Minnesota. You know, you can do a loop around a lake, you can walk in the trees, because there are seasons in Minnesota, and that's nice, and I'll give it that, so you can like look at foliage and stuff. But if you want to go up, and I want to go up, not happening. And I used to work a 9 to 5. I used to work Monday through Friday, a normal job. And you bet your butt, every Sunday and most Saturdays I was hiking. And then when I got the chance to work from home on one of my last positions before I became a flight attendant, we would wrap up our day at 6. But the last like 10 minutes of our day would be spent in a Zoom meeting, which means I didn't have to be moving the cursor around my screen to appear active for those last 10 minutes of the day, and I didn't have to have my camera on for the end of day Zoom team meeting. This is when I did auto insurance. So I would sign out of my computer. I would sign into the Zoom meeting using my phone, and I would listen to the Zoom meeting as I was getting my butt into my car at like 5:50 p.m. I would start driving to a hike. I would get there like 6:20, 6:30, and I would hike sometimes until like 9, 10 p.m. every day of the week. Even after daylight savings, I would just bring my headlamp. And this is why I'm kind of like chubbier now too, because that's the only thing that I like to do that's active. I like to play tennis, and I like to hike. I cannot be motivated to work out in a gym. So I'm very excited that there are going to be accessible hiking trails from my hotel. Like, not even ones that I need to Uber to. And it's going to be cold. And I don't care, because I'm going to get up early as soon as I finish this video. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go on a hike in my inadequate clothing. I'm going to get ready for work. I only have 2 legs tomorrow, which makes my day extremely easy. This whole trip is extremely easy. I started it earlier this evening at 8:15 p.m. in Minneapolis. I flew 1 leg to Boseman, a nearly completely empty flight. I will be here for almost 14 hours. I will be able to get a hike in, and then I will do 2 easy flights tomorrow from here to Minneapolis to Baltimore, which is where my best friend currently lives, and I'll have like another 14-ish hours in Baltimore, which means I can get breakfast with my best friend before work tomorrow, the last day, but I'm only actually working one of them. The first flight out of Baltimore is called a deadhead, which means I am not the working crew. I'm just getting paid to be on that plane so they can fly me to its destination, from where I will then pick up the work and work our trip back to Minneapolis. So this whole trip is like nice and easy. I'll get to hike, I'll get to see my friend, and I love the crew. The crew is nice. The crew is really nice. And the same thing on my last rotation from the video where I was knitting that beanie. Almost a bummer. It's almost upsetting because like I got off of that trip. I finished. I was released from work at like 1 o'clock in the morning this morning. And everyone else on that crew except for me was a commuter, which means they stay in crash pads or they stay in hotels. 2 of them didn't have a ride because one of their hotels didn't have a 24-hour shuttle and the other one stays in a crash pad, and Uber is way too expensive to be doing all of that. So I gave both of them a ride to their locations, and I myself got home at like 2:20 in the morning, and then I slept. I wasn't able to sleep until about 6:30 in the morning. I slept until 11 a.m. and then I did some chores, and then I came back to work again at 8 p.m. And all of those girls on yesterday's rotation and all of the girls on today's rotation are so awesome. Like, I've yet to work with anybody that I disliked. My airline really seems to have found the secret sauce that they're looking for in terms of hiring people, because I have only ever worked with good people that I would like to work with again. I'd be happy to work with again. But these last 2 crews have been full of people that, like, I want to be your friend. I want to hang out. I want to be your friend. But they are all flight attendants, which presents the first problem. Because a flight attendant job is not a 9-to-5 job. So even if they were Minneapolis based, which they are, and living in Minnesota like myself, we would still ever so rarely have the opportunity to see each other outside of work on days when neither of us is scheduled to be working. However, all 5, yesterday was a crew for, six. All 6 people are commuters. None of them live in Minnesota. So then you're already a flight attendant, and then you're a commuter. So basically, whenever you're not at work, you're trying to get home, and then anytime you're at home, you're trying to get to work. Commuting flight attendants, God bless them. I was a commuting flight attendant for like the first 4 months that I started this job, and I just cannot be bothered. Because I work a lot. I'll work like 3/4 of the days out of my month, and then the last quarter of days, when you're a commuter, half of that time is spent just getting to and from work. And I can't be bothered, so I moved. So all of these girls, the ones that I'm flying with on this trip, and the ones that I flew with on the last trip, they're all commuters, which means they spend even less time in Minnesota. I will realistically, unless unless we end up on another trip together again, I will realistically never see these ladies again. And yeah, I could take their numbers down, but we're all working, we're all trying to maximize our money. They're not going to just fly to Minneapolis just to see me, you know? They're flying to Minneapolis so they can go to work, and then when they're done with work, they go home. And I totally get that. That's why I didn't even try. You know, we all acknowledge, like, you know, if things were different, totally would love to be your friend, but our lifestyles just are not set up for maintaining friendships like that. Which is like the only bummer, because I love this job, but I meet some of the dopest people, and it's always the ones that I like the most that are commuters. And it's like, you are never gonna be in my city when I'm not at work, and you're not at work. I'm never going to see you again. So thank you for being my bestie for the last 3 days. Have a nice life. That's basically what it's like being a flight attendant sometimes. But that's okay. I love it. It's the best job. So, like, this crew is great. We got in, and I've just been kind of putzing around a little bit like I do. I was looking at our location on a map on all trails and trying to find some trails. I had gone down to ask the lady at reception because I saw some comments on the reviews for our hotel mentioning that it's a good hotel to stay at as kind of like a home base if you're here for a hiking trip. So then I went down to ask her, like, if she knew of any ones that people frequently go to, or just ones that are like fairly easily accessible from where we are. And she had some really good input for me. She was the one that told me specifically that one of the trail networks that I had saved was in walking distance, and that's probably gonna be the one that I end up doing. And it's going to be, like I said, it's gonna be cold tomorrow, so not cold enough that it'll prohibit a lot of people from hiking, but I'm wondering maybe if I get out there and if I can find like kind of a quiet area, or if I just happen to get lucky and there's not a lot of other people on the trails, and if it's not too windy, it might be cool to kind of do like an outdoor ASMR video, but I don't really have the mic set up for that if it's gonna be a windy day. You know, I don't have a wind cover because I just have this little lo-fi microphone. But either way, I will report back. And then I'll be able to make another video tomorrow night. And then I go into 2 days off, and then I think I go to, I don't know, somewhere in Florida, and then after that I go to Calgary, and Calgary's a great place to be if you want to go to Banff. Banff is one of my favorite places that I've been to so far in the world. My screensaver of my phone has been the same photo that I took during a hike in Banff since the day that I was there 2-ish years ago. I just don't know if it's going to be too snowy for that already or not. So I will be very, very eagerly watching the weather forecasts for the Banff area and the Calgary area, because if it looks good enough to go, I'm gonna go. I would love nothing more than to go visit Banff again. That would make me super happy. So, cross your fingers for me. And, I just suppressed a yawn. So I think it is about time for me to watch Netflix for like probably no more than 5 minutes before I pass out. So I'm gonna go wash my makeup off. God, I look so tired. I swear I'll think that I look cute, and then I think it's the plane, because I swear I'm not delusional. I will actually look cute when I go to work, and then you just sit in a plane for a couple of hours with the dry, recycled air, and like my skin gets dry, my mouth gets dry, my eyes get dry, and then by the end of it, I don't look so cute anymore. So, it's time for bed. I'm gonna go take my makeup off and get in bed, and I will see you in the next video from Baltimore tomorrow. And I hope you have a wonderful rest. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.